groups under the supervision of Living Earth Uganda, an agricultural organization.
When we came here, they lacked knowledge in what they were doing in terms of skills. They had limited access to improved seeds and knowledge as well. They were also relying on local seeds which cannot meet the climatic changes that are happening now.
At least 680 persons were affected, and so far 291 have benefited from the program.
And even after building these structures, we would go up to check whether they have put the necessary disease control components in those structures. And that would qualify one, that is a group, to receive the input.
Despite receiving the livelihood program, the former landowners tasked stakeholders and government to ensure fair land acquisition rates that do not leave them at a loss.
They compensated us, but unfortunately we didn't bargain. We did not bargain at all. They could say we are going to pass here minus bargaining, yes, we agreed.
When they measure your land, they say it is the government to value, government value, to value it. But we don't know how much he values that land. We don't know how much he values one inch or 1 meter.
The program is projected to take 3 to 5 years in Kaboya, Changwali and Buseruka, with support from SINOC in partnership with the district leadership, undertaking the monitoring to ensure its sustainability. For UBC News, Wadulo Makanold in Chikube. The EU heads of mission are concerned about the underutilization of a valley dam in Kabong district due to cattle raids. The valley dam is among the 8 that were constructed to provide water for livestock during the dry seasons and hence boost livelihoods in the pastoralist community. Dennis Sigoa reports.
Pro-Resilience Action, Pro-Act Uganda, is a European Union-funded project working towards strengthening shock-responsive systems in Karamoja.
Not respond to shocks late in a traditional humanitarian relief way that we do year after year after year, but actually take early action based on the information received through the early warning systems that are being strengthened and established.
Of course, we know, especially Kotido district where we are right now, people are prone to a lot of famine, hunger, malnutrition issues, and this project is very, very important to me. I happen to be a Karamojo and I know what it means growing up in this kind of environment.
The €4 million scheme is implemented by World Food Programme, Food and Agriculture Organization and the Office of the Prime Minister.
We have discussed the challenges faced at national and local levels to reduce, anticipate and rapidly respond to shocks, and are committed to find ways of supporting the government of Uganda in this direction. And I know again I speak on
capacity of the locals and national stakeholders to share timely and accurate information that the community and stakeholders can utilize and manage food shocks.
So really meteorological information and different types and layers of information, including satellite information and imagery and the rain index, and all of this comes together, together with eyes on the ground from the 9 districts. The information gets sorted, collated, analyzed, and we prepare monthly bulletins.
By so doing, the community will be able to act in anticipation of food shocks and benefit from early response to food crisis that has grappled the region from time immemorial. In another development, the EU ambassadors are concerned about the redundancy of one of the valley dams constructed in Kabong district. According to locals, they are no longer utilizing the facility because all their cattle have been stolen.
We had a lot of cows. Actually, we had about 8,000 heads of cattle, which were later raided by our neighbors, the GA.
They add that elephants roaming from Kidepo Valley National Park are now the major beneficiaries of the project and call for project diversification to irrigation.
If the partners, the donors, could help us to find a way of using this facility, like for irrigation purposes, because the only animals using now this dam is the elephants. That is the only animals they use which you have now. There's nothing else. We want the government to help us to give us irrigation system that we can make some irrigation gardens around the dam.
Can this sustain animals? Can this sustain the irrigation system for that dry period at the peak of water demand? We are, as per now, actually making some studies about that small-scale irrigation system.
This dam is part of a bigger European Union-funded Valley Dam project in the Karamoja sub-region, which cost 11 million euros, which is approximately 46 billion Ugandan shillings. Dennis Igoa for UBC News in the Karamoja.
Digital financial technology developers want the government to relax on the taxes imposed on the sector if the country is to achieve a robust digital economy. The cheap accessibility of these digital platforms, if well managed, are expected to improve financial inclusion.
High costs involved while transacting using digital platforms still affect the country's target of achieving e-commerce. Scattered infrastructure also limits younger innovators to come up with relevant financial solutions.
Can't trade more, buy and sell more because they're using cash. It means that therefore it's taking them longer to get out of poverty. So it has affected our overall economy, because if we're looking at an economy which is trying to have less poor people, as long as digital transactions are expensive, we will continue to have more poor people because poor people will not adopt them.
While exhibiting new financial innovations, fintech architects decried the high taxes on financial digital platforms, despite the sector being on infantry.
If you're going to drive digital economy, then the operations of being digitally included should be lower. Otherwise, you resort to cash. So that's the big challenge that we've got, and the big opportunity to make sure that we can continue making mobile money as seamless, as simple, and as cost-effective as possible, so that we can move people and move their transactions from cash into digital.
Platforms like mobile money would be a good deal. However, there is a need for interoperability principle to create one-stop center for more inclusiveness.
Level 1 principle looks at governance of these kinds of platforms that is shared. It isn't like one entity that comes up and say, I'm the owner of everything interoperable within this market. We need to look at a level whereby something like this becomes shared, as is even driven by the level 1 principles.
Complications while accessing and subscribing to these digital platforms, especially documents, sometimes scare away potential subscribers.
Now, don't exclude them because they don't yet have a national ID. Have a mechanism in place that says someone without a national ID, maybe your LC writes a letter for you, and then I can at least open for you an account where you can do a maximum of 100,000 shillings every month. At least you broke them the next step. So a principle like that is very important. There is a principle about real time. Prior to mobile money, the bit instant and real time was not existing in our ecosystem. Now, mobile money made things different, whereby you're sending a transaction to someone, you're initiating a transfer, you expect them to confirm within 1 minute that they receive this. Now, we can't take this for granted.
Trying to make sure that there are less poor people and there are more people who are in the formal economy, formalized to some extent economy. We're all driving towards the same point. So all these players have to come together. You can't expect just the private sector to work at it. Even the regulators have to be.
For the attainment of the digital economy, government through regulators and private sector needs to work not in isolation so that no one is left behind in financial inclusion. Abdul Nasser Lubwama, UBC News.
Uganda Breweries Limited this week celebrated 75 years, and they shared stories of what made their brand what it is. Together with East African breweries, they launched an environmental sustainability report which calls for collective responsibility while achieving the country's climate change goals.
We invest disproportionately in protecting the youth against underage drinking, in partnering with the authorities on curbing drink driving in this nation.
Uganda Breweries was the most amazing learning academy that I have ever experienced when it came to marketing, when it came to leadership. The two values that spoke to me and still speak to me and have remained with me, and keep driving me. The value around freedom to succeed and also being the best. And it is something that I also impart on the people I work with.
There are a lot of microeconomies in peri-urban areas, deep rural areas, where people are very self-sufficient. And essentially, depending on how you set out your portfolio, you can actually win with the consumer at various ladders. So we're also very keen around the channel and how we serve that channel. But behind these first 2 points is one of my favorite topics, which is really around organizational culture.
These sustainability projects in the report by the East African Breweries Limited intend to encounter dreadful climate change effects through community-based solutions.
What you can do, just be like the hummingbird. When there is a fire, that bird goes to the water lake and tries to put water. So it's our part, and I think that's a call as EABL we are having. What can we do? The little that we can afford to do, both as an organizational perspective and as an employee and as a community. Because the climate change, sustainability, I think we can no longer be blind to it. It is a very, very big challenge.
According to the report, the uncoordinated industrial development agenda has led the East African region to experience the adverse climate change effects associated with global warming.
Today's society, sustainable development focuses a lot on economic activities that do not harm the environment. And that is the outcry of SDG 6, which looks at basically clean water and sanitation.
Despite the economic contribution of Ugandans growing the industrial sector, environmental pollution is threatening the quality of life and life expectancy itself.
The current nationwide initiative are meant to mobilize all Ugandans to take and sustain concrete action to restore the environment, focusing on forests, wetlands, lake shores and riverbanks, hilly slopes, mountains, sanitation, and wild animals.
Ugandan industrialists have been urged to periodically carry out environmental assessments so as to mitigate future climate crises.
In another development, Karamoja sub-region is to benefit from an EU-funded project that seeks to shield the community from food shocks. We had a chance to witness its inauguration.
Greeting the EU ambassador, greeting the ambassador of Ireland, and greeting the ambassador of Italy.
As I was here before, as you heard somebody already say, I was here to begin many of the things that are happening here now. So I want so much to see what has happened since, and so this is an opportunity for me to see this institute standing here as it is. I can't thank the Irish government and through the embassy enough. And so to you, our friends from the European Union, please know that Uganda government and my ministry value our relationship. We thank God for what we have done together in this country and in the Tibet subsector, both here and elsewhere in the country.
Now, the education is something that perhaps is, along with security indeed, one of the key ingredients to help this region to catch up, or at least to move at the same pace that the rest of the country is moving. Maybe there is need to have an accelerator here. Maybe there is need to try to fast track what government is doing in education, particularly here, to give chance to people to reach, probably it will take time, but reach where others are already today.
In terms of vocational training, over 3,500 young people have been trained to date in vocational skills in Karamoja region, and that includes 51% women. Many others have been supported by Ireland in cooperation with the government through primary and secondary levels. But, Minister, more investment, as you very well know, is needed as this region commercialises. This week we heard from many communities, and they spoke that skilling the youth is not only vital for the economic development of the region, but as a pathway away from activities which contribute.
A facility like this, such facilities are needed. I'm told it's only one in this region, but I must thank you for the work that you did. We've inspected the drylands project, many schools have been built, also many dams have also been provided, and we are going to work with your mentorship to see that we add on what you started.
The National Information Technology Authority of Uganda, NITAU, is set to establish a data protection portal in accordance with the implementation of the Data Protection Act of 2019. NITAU has partnered with the United Nations Capital Development Fund to spur confidence and trust in the digital economy.
The objective of establishing data protection portal is to attract more companies to subscribe on the National Central Data System. The Data Protection Act was adopted in 2019. However, the registration of companies at low pace as potential subscribers are skeptical of data privacy and integrity.
This office has also been set up to handle complaints from the citizens and the residents. So if you find that your personal data, for instance, is in someone's hands and you've never given them that data, the law allows you to ask that person how they receive the data and what data they have about you.
With the implementation of the Act, all companies in possession of people's personal information are required to subscribe to the National Central Data System.
If they fail to do that, the office has a right to prosecute these organizations, and the highest penalty under the law is a 2% penalty on the gross annual income of the...
Using my data in the right way. Are they complying? Is my data being used for something malicious, or is it safe? So the alignment is helpful and it's already in place.
NITA Uganda has partnered with the United Nations Capital Development Fund to foster inclusive digital economies in Uganda.
Office in place, the Personal Data Privacy Protection Office. So that allows us the opportunity to have a focal point to partner with, somebody to work with to support the implementation of this law and the promotion of data privacy and protection to give Ugandans the confidence to participate in this digital economy.
To achieve the national development goals in this fourth industrial revolution, government must invest as stakeholders respect data privacy of digital platform subscribers. Abdul Nasir Lubwama for UBC News.
Airtel Uganda extended support to Rwenzori sub-region through activities that included donation of 2 mobile ultrasound scans to enhance safe motherhood, commissioned 3 mast sites in Kasese to boost network coverage in the region, and also launched an Airtel Money branch to facilitate financial inclusion. Let's take a look.
Kasese particularly, this site we are launching today is representing other 3 sites that we are launching. This is Chikorongo, there is another one in Kambohe, and then there is Chanjuchi. These 3 are forming a part of 26 sites that are currently serving the people of Kasese. So this shows you that Airtel is still very committed to continue improving the welfare of people of Rwenzori region, and they will continue investing and will continue cooperating with the government.
In this region we have so many BTSs, whereby you make calls. So this BTS is the one that carries your phone call to the BSC, the base station controller. So that base station controller is the one, if like you're making a call, let's say from Kampala. So this BTS carries that signal to the BSC, and the BSC looks for the person you're going to look for, and it connects you to that person and start making a call.
Thank you very much. Once you improve communication, then you are improving the wealth of the people. Where one would just be moving from one place to another, just using a vehicle, just uses a phone call. And that's one. Then 2, you are also giving people money. You are employing so many people. Because those who will be selling your lines, those who will be selling airtime, all those are getting something to put in the pocket. So I hail you so high.
Really, we have been having challenges with making decisions in time. Sometimes we would need to first do an ultrasound scan, and you end up sending your client to long distances where he can get the service. But now, it is an opportunity that we are going to make a decision in time and attend to our clients.
The digital monitoring systems are there globally and regionally. And when these broadcasting entities are playing music or movies, it can easily be determined. They have a system of determining. Even the UCC itself, the Uganda Communications Commission, has a system of monitoring what is being played and what is not being played.
Last week, Uganda Airlines celebrated 2 years of commercial operations, and the airline currently has a fleet of 6 aircraft, including 4 CRJ-900 jetliners from Bombardier and 2 Airbus A330-800 Neo jets. In today's Sounds of Business, we take you to Entebbe, where our team captured the touch and go exercises of the Airbus ahead of the long-haul operations set to be launched in October this year.
That's what I wanted. So you can sleep out properly. And
the 6 controls are here. It's all done electronically.
But honestly, you have made such a great purchase. It is a fantastic purchase.
Because it can do short form, can do long form,
and the great thing is you have 25 tons of cargo. You think of all the produce going from here to, in particular, Dubai and London.
A business will be successful in the long run only because it adds value to people's lives. Strive to provide value while making sales the second priority, and see the difference. Thank you for joining us. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold. This is the weekly business roundup. Catch us next time, same place. From the team, I must say good night.
I smile when I think of you, Uganda, my home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda, my home. Oh, my Uganda.
MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.